So many of you have probably heard of Mazak. They are an industry leader in the manufacturing of advanced technology solutions. That would include things like milling machines, CNC, and other advanced manufacturing automation tools. As you can tell from the picture on this slide, these are large, heavy machines that can literally be as large as a school bus. And while Mazak does not build the products that we use, think of Mazak as a company that manufactures automated tools that build many of the parts that go into the products that we use. And today, Mazak and their solutions are at the forefront of advancing smart factories and things like Industry 4.0. Their tools are intelligent, they are connected, they are highly automated systems that allow manufacturers to increase production capacity and improve quality as well as scale their operational excellence. Additionally important is that for their reputation as a IEM manufacturer, they build these high quality, highly advanced machines, but they also back these machines with a commitment to providing the best, most comprehensive customer service in their industry. And that's really what takes us to our field service story today. So I'd like to introduce to you Jason Feitz and Patrick Nielsen from Mazak Corporation, who are going to be talking about the solution and their experience with Dynamics today. Jason, why don't you start and tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Mazak, and then Patrick, if you wouldn't mind doing the same when Jason is done.
Yes, thank you, Mark. My name is Jason Feitz. I'm the North American Service Manager for Mazak Corporation here, responsible for our service organization. And we cover, we have a Canada operation, a US operation, and also Mexico. But for anything aftermarket, service, parts, training, that sort of falls under my responsibility.
Hello, everyone. My name is Patrick. I work in the National Service Department under Jason. I oversee a lot of the day-to-day aspects of what everyone uses in field service, such as data management, reporting, end user support, process improvements, test updates for Microsoft, and new solutions that we're putting out.
Very good. Thank you, Jason. Patrick, appreciate that. And I want to say thank you again on behalf of MCA Connect for both of you for joining us today and just sharing your perspectives on the implementation and your experience with Microsoft Dynamics Field Service Solution. Jennifer and I and our team have been really looking forward to hearing you tell a story from the customer's perspective. It's not something that we always get a chance to hear. So appreciate your time and just your willingness to share today. And also I wanted to say that, MCA Connect is obviously, we're very proud to have Mazak as a customer. We're proud to have partnered with you on the entire Microsoft Dynamics implementation, not just field service. And I was thinking it's important that before we jump into some of the questions, to give people a perspective, can you just provide a review of your overall implementation timeline of Microsoft Dynamics at Mazak?
Thank you, Mark. Basically, what's showing up here on the screen around 2018 is when we sort of started looking to see what type of a platform we wanted to go with, and we selected 365. And our first piece that we implemented was our field service in the CE realm. That went live April of last year. And then this year, not far after we got done with that implementation, we started doing our parts and accounting operation, which was in F&O. That went live in August of this year, and we are in the very preliminary stages of getting our sales administration going, which should be tentatively end of next year for that going live.
All right, and then I guess some later phases, looking at ERP and manufacturing production somewhere past 2021, is that correct?
Yes, after we get done with our sales administration, the next major piece that we're gonna do will be our production facility here in Florence, Kentucky.
Fantastic, great. All right, so a number of questions that we've kind of put together here for our little chat, but thought these would be helpful first to focus on Mazak's journey through Dynamics, and then to talk a little bit about results and outcomes. So with respect to Mazak's journey, maybe just to begin, as you kind of look back to 2 years ago when you were first getting started, what were some of the business and technology challenges facing Mazak that you were really tasked with improving?
Yeah, we were using softwares that were a little bit dated and weren't very user friendly. It was hard to really find any capable developers who were able to work on it. So that kind of made it a little bit more restricted for adding any advancement to it, which also in turn made it less user friendly.
Great. And what kind of systems were you on at the time? Maybe give some people some perspective.
We were using iSeries, Lotus Notes, Domino servers.
Yeah, great. And so in any particular challenges around those particular platforms?
We had a lot of field restrictions with the AS400 and the iSeries to where there's only a certain amount of characters that are allowed to be put in per field, which had made it a little bit difficult for giving detailed records or putting in international addresses.
Okay, great. Yeah. And I think curious too, just in terms of Lotus Notes, obviously that's a platform that's, I think you kind of at the edge of being supported or no longer supported. So was there some motivation there as well?
Yeah, we had some pressure from our upper management who wanted to get off of the Lotus Notes because of it no longer being supported.
Okay, great, great.
And how did you decide on the Microsoft Dynamics 365 for field service platform?
Well, that's sort of an interesting one because our parent company, about 10 years ago, 10 or so years ago, looked at and actually started implementing AX. When AX first really started getting on, well, since that's been changed and is basically now a part of 365, that was one of our big reasons to go to 365 path because of compatibility with being able to get information and send information back to our parent company in Japan.
Fantastic. And why did you choose to implement field service before ERP?
That's a very good one. To where we wanted to have what touched the customer first. Instead of doing like all the behind the scenes, we wanted to sort of have a system to where our customers could see that we were making changes to benefit them instead of trying to get all these internal things done first. Was one of the big reasons why we selected field service first.
Great. Kind of the last question, getting to your journey here. What can you share with us about the overall experience in standing up a field service solution in Dynamics? What was that like for you as kind of implementing that system, and then also when you went live for your customers?
I will say the journey was a little rough, just because we were, like how Patrick was alluding to, we were on the same system for the last 15 years. So it was a little bit of a change, but change is always good. And once we got going and everyone got accepting to it, because different look, because like how Patrick indicated, we were using an iSeries, so green screen, tab, enter type stuff, to where once they got over that hurdle, it's sort of buying in where it's web based. But I will say that week ago I was nervous, because you always get those things where you go, okay, is this the right thing? Did we do the right thing? Oh my God. But at the end of the day, we did the right thing, and it's setting us up for a journey to be able to get to this end goal of having all of our systems talking together, using a common data place.
Great. And have there been any kind of like anecdotal stories of how this system has really improved your ability to service and take care of your customers?
Well, with some of the automatic notifications that we didn't have in the previous system, where we send out information to the customer based on certain milestones, we've had a few instances where because of those notifications, customers have let us know, like, hey, hold on, we're not ready, instead of our service guys just sort of showing up and going, oh, they're not there today, to where we were able to redirect our resources that we would not have been able to do as efficiently in our previous system.
Wow, that's great. So in terms of some of the results or the outcomes, what's some of the value that you think as a company you've been able to deliver to your customers?
I think the best one is our communication. We've been able to provide multiple avenues of getting a hold of us and us getting a hold of the customer, mainly through the automated notifications, as Jason mentioned earlier, and through their service portal. Well, service portal being like our customer facing portal that allows customers to interact with us and also track their interactions with us. Some people don't like emailing in. Some people don't like going and giving us a telephone call. It just provides them another way of reaching us. Also, it gave them ability to create cases from there so that they can go in there, put in any issue that they're having, and we'll go and send them an automated response right away. And then we'll have a service technician get a hold of them, or someone in the office get a hold of them to provide some tech support. Also, something that's like really helped was our cross-departmental communication. Is we now are able to see a lot more what's going on in other departments. So where you could actually provide some of that information to our customers on what's happening with at accounting, or what's happening with our aftermarket parts department. And it allowed us to, kind of provide a lot more information to the customers than we were previously.
And what value were you able to deliver back to Mazak?
Well, to Mazak, the main one would be time. When it comes with those automated emails, we are providing step-by-step everything that we're doing to the customer, so they don't have to come in, give us a call, or try to find out what's going on. They could track it also through the service portal, and that's another one where instead of them going in and calling us for something that'd be simple, we provide them a way of finding that information out. That provides our people in the office a lot more time to work on a lot more challenging issues. Also, we allowed our distributors and vendors who go out and do service for us access to use the mobile application that our technicians are using. This was a big game changer because it allowed them to enter data digitally that flowed directly into our system. So without them having to interact with any Mazak employee. And then I think the last one be for us, it's very user-friendly, intuitive system that's extremely flexible, and it's easier to train new employees that are coming in. So we don't have to spend so much time getting them up to speed before they're ready to start providing benefit to the company.
Fantastic. And how do you envision future phases for your field service solution?
For that, I mean, there are a lot of tools that are coming out that I know we're just barely scratching the surface. As the biggest one I know is as we bring on other departments, sort of like from our sales side, when we get our information in from on the sales side, or accounting information is in there, to where we're able to see a snapshot right away, and then that builds on being able to add in other pieces, is for like a augmented reality and some VR type stuff that we can continually enhance the customer experience, because the software gives us that flexibility where we're not sort of stuck in, we can only do so much, where as more tools become available, they are more easily integrated into the software to where we can capture data, or we can pass information back and forth a lot easier.
It's great. Appreciate that. We obviously have quite a bit of time left, and want to take some time and allow folks on the call to ask some questions. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Patrick, myself, Jennifer, or Jason, please put those in the Q&A chat window. There should be a little button that allows you to open up on the sidebar. You should have that Q&A area. And if you would like, we'll be monitoring that. Jennifer will be watching that, and she will go ahead and just kind of direct the questions as needed. But go ahead and type any questions you might have in there, and we will go ahead and answer those.
And we have a couple already. So first question, if Lotus Notes wasn't coming to the end of cycle, end of life, would you still move to field service?
I'll take that one. I believe we would, because we only use that internally, and we didn't have our third party groups using that, to where now with 365 we're able to get them all into one system, where we couldn't have done that with Lotus Notes.
Excellent. So there's a great follow-up question here as well. What's the best feature in Lotus Notes that you miss in field service?
You want to answer that one, Patrick? I'm trying to think of it right now.
Actually, at the top of my head, I was not a big fan of the Lotus Notes.
Yeah, I mean, I know from, because we use Lotus Notes as a sort of like a satellite access for our service guys. They would put the information in, and then they would sync back in. I guess. Well, but the only thing I could really, we also used Lotus Notes for our email group. So some of those features that Lotus Notes had, that's a little bit better than like Outlook and some of those things. But I would think, if anything, it'd be more on the email side than it would be from the field service side.
Okay. And for Pat and Jason, how have your field technicians been able to use mobile devices to support their service activities?
Well, we provide all their jobs that are in a format of calendar, weekly, or just an agenda view, to where they can see what jobs they have to be due next. We can provide from within the app automatic routes to where they need to go. Most of it's, not multiple sites in a day, but if we did have multiple sites, it would plan routes to minimize the travel time if you wanted it to. We are able to provide customer contact information from within the mobile app that allows them to communicate with their point of contact at the customer for when they're arriving. And really, just, I'd say, ease of use of entering in all of the information so that they can do it right there on the spot. They don't have to go back after they do their job and go enter it in onto a computer afterwards. They can, okay, I went over, I did this task, check it off, done.
Fantastic. And that mobile app is undergoing some new features. So in about 18 months, I think, is the cutoff for the old mobile app to be moved to the new one. But with the new one, we have things like inspections, the connected IoT options, real-time technician tracking, and the location sharing, and a lot of new deeply integrated links to other parts of the Dynamics platform. So for example, that remote assist application, where when that technician is offsite and they need to call out to an expert, that's deep linked within that field service application, right within that work order, if you will. So being able to, not have to scroll through to locate the support contact or that expert for that specific work order, being able to have that embedded right into the work order is something really exciting. Also with Power Virtual Agents, so those kind of bots that we build that can live anywhere within the Dynamics sphere, that's also deeply integrated with the mobile app as well. No other questions coming in. Feel free to, we do have a few more, sorry. What if you could integrate with Lotus Notes?
I know from our side, we made a company decision to go away from Lotus Notes. I would think that if the potential of basically Domino going away, we might have done that, but from us specifically, we made a company decision that we're going to go away from Lotus Notes. That really wasn't an option for us specifically.
Next question, and pardon the wording here. You mentioned your third-party users use the same mobile. My screen just used the same the same mobile to interact with the system without having to go through Mazak's employee, did you buy each third-party resource a license?
Yes, we did. And we also provided different security for them so that they only had access to data that was pertinent to the work that they were doing.
Yeah, basically we give them a guest license. So they show up in our Microsoft license, but they're not in our full Azure environment where we have them set up as a guest user. But they use the same exact mobile app, same exact interface. Just the only little difference, like Patrick just said, there is a few little things internally that are different, but they go in and they do the same steps on the mobile app.
Excellent. And what was the most challenging part of Dynamics 365 Field Service from an implementation perspective?
I think from our side, sort of like how I mentioned earlier, it was just getting over the newness of, well, we've been using the same system for 15 years. Why do we need to switch? That was probably the biggest from a user perspective. Now, internally, we have all of our other systems that were still on the iSeries and doing Domino. So we had to create interfaces to send information back and forth. That did create a little headache, but we knew the end game is everyone's going to be on this system. So from an implementation standpoint, we had a lot of things going on in the background in order to keep the day-to-day going. But from the users of the system, it was just getting out of that frame of mind of, well, I'm not going to be using my notes remote satellite link, or I'm not going to be in my iSeries on the desktop. So once we got over that, we were pretty good. But like I said, we were using the same system for the last 15 years. So there were a lot of people that were, why are we changing? Why are we changing? And it's like, well, we need to update stuff.
Excellent. Do you foresee using augmented reality and remote assist in the near future for either service or for technician training?
That's funny that they bring that one up. We are already dabbling in using the HoloLens and remote assist for things where we can get our service guys trained up the curve on things a little quicker, but then also to be able to do communication, because of say you give a HoloLens to a younger service guy, not as experienced. Well, he can use his HoloLens to call either to another technician into the office and do a expert, and then they can walk them through. So yes, we are dabbling in doing that, and we're very in the early stages of rolling out some of those technologies out to our field to be able to do that. Will then, and again, like I was saying earlier, enhance the system that would have been very, very difficult and would have had its own silo of information, where 365 allows us to merge all that information together.
That's fantastic news, especially giving the technicians the power. I mean, their heads up, yeah. Their hands free. They can be working. They're not carrying a clipboard or a tablet. Everything's basically within their line of view.
Correct.
Very exciting to hear that. Another question here. What other providers did you consider before settling on Dynamics? And what were those deciding factors?
I know one other one that we were in the running for was SAP. But again, we went the 365 route because of our parent company being on AX, and it was a lot easier of an interface from AX to 365 versus AX to SAP. So it was more of a global company decision to go that route. Now, Grant, I can't answer for why our parent company went the AX route, other than the same way of we were on the same iSeries system and something a little more flexible. But at least for us specifically, why we picked 365 was because of the compatibility back to AX.
Just want to thank everyone for joining us today, and especially want to thank Jason and Patrick. Really enjoyed hearing your answers, and you guys did a great job responding to the ad hoc questions. So hats off to you, and again, thank you for all of that. For those of you on this call, if you would like any additional information on the Mazak story, on Dynamics Field Service as a solution, or on MCA Connect and our ability to implement that platform, please reach out. I've got Jennifer and my contact information on the screen right now. We would love to chat with you and get you more information.
And Mark, we do have one more question that came.
One more question. Sure, go ahead. We'll pause here.
Great question. Did you build AX and field service integration yourself?
That's a good question. I don't know if I can fully answer because that's more on our IT side, but I do know that we do send information back to our parent company, but I can't 100% say, are we one-for-one integrating? I think we're sending it through a interface, and then they take the information and apply it on their side. Patrick, you might be able to answer this one maybe a little bit better. Do you have any further information on that?
I'm not sure. I only know about the integrations that we're doing between CE and F&O, not
Okay.
back to Japan though.
Okay. It just, I know we have a interface method in the AS400 because a lot of our other systems still are. I just don't know if we're still using that. But I know we're not talking one-to-one between yet. But as we get more of our departments on, our old communication method back and forth sort of becomes obsolete, to where I know eventually we will be doing one-for-one talking back and forth.
Yeah, and the CE to F&O integration is pretty seamless. Microsoft has that pretty much baked in the solution. F&O to AX. I know we've done that as a company before. I'm not particularly sure how Mazak does that, but it's a much more, the modern platform makes it a lot easier to integrate, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just setting up the mappings between the fields and an integration schedule. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else there, Jennifer, before we let everybody sign off?
No, we had 10 questions, and thank you everyone for your participation in that.
Yep, absolutely. So again, if you have any other additional questions or you want to talk with MCA Connect, we've got our contact info there. Feel free to reach out to Jennifer and I. And we want to say thank you again to everyone. Thank you to Jason and to Patrick, and want to just wish everyone a great day and best wishes for a very happy holiday season of the weeks to come. Thank you very much.